Welcome, guys, to Viet Film Fest. This is Los Amigos High School, and then Los Amigos High School meet your film panel. So pretty much, we'll do quick introductions, I'll ask the panelists, but you, the audience, have an opportunity to ask questions as well. So think of those questions from what you saw from the movies and such. So we'll start with introductions. So name, film, role in the film, and then pho or bum away of the noodle dishes in the Vietnamese culture, or any noodle dish preferred. We'll have you start off. There's like multiple. Yeah, go for it.
Hey guys, so I'm Kenneth, and yeah, I'm with One Summer Night. I was the first AD, and yeah, I gotta go with pho since we're at the Viet Film Festival.
Hi guys, I'm Long. I'm the writer-director of One Summer Night. I have to go with pho for me as well.
Hi guys, I'm Akeem Mendoza. I'm one of the editors for Mike. And I guess, because I'm going to have pho with my partner tonight, I'm going to go with pho.
Nice.
Hi, I'm Chris. I'm one of the producers for Mike. I will also go with pho, but I'll have like a banh mi and I'll like dip it in, so that like a little extra flavor. Yeah.
Nice. So 4 out of 4 panelists chose pho. Let's ask the audience. Who here would like pho over bum away? Pho first. Make some noise, guys. All right. And then for those who like a little spice, bum away. Oh dang! So the audience likes bum away more than pho, but 4 out of 4. Film panel likes pho. So the question in your group to start the conversation is, what are some influences that helped you make your film? Or why did you decide to be part of this film that was shown today?
Yeah, so I've been knowing Long since we've been in high school together. We've been really close friends ever since, and we've been doing film as well. And yeah, Long just came to me when he was ready to make this film, but I knew he was writing this project for quite a long time, and yeah, I just couldn't say no, and miss out on that opportunity to make some magic. So yeah, and I had so much fun doing it, and so much fun working with you.
Yeah, I know Kenneth from high school all the way back in Louisiana. We both grew up there, and then we moved out here together. I wanted Kenneth so bad that I flew him out here to first AD for the film. But yeah, One Summer Night's based on true events in my life, and it's a little adapted, but for the most part, yeah, I worked on it through and through from the beginning to the end. Mostly basing it off my own life, but also bringing in influences from the cast and crew's perspectives of Vietnamese culture and how these experiences have affected them.
So Dukan, the director of Mike, is my roommate and good friend, and he wanted to work with someone who he can bang the door at 2 a.m. and say like, hey, we want the cut done by 4 o'clock in the morning. So that's how I came on board, but really like Dukan's a good friend, and one of the things that we bonded over is that Dukan used to be an exchange student in South Dakota, and I used to be an exchange student in a different country, but I'm from the Philippines, and so we bonded over that. And when he was telling me about the story of Mike and how it's like this Vietnamese exchange student, I was like sold, because like I want to tell a story of how it is to be on an exchange student program. And so yeah, and I was inspired by like these 90s and early 2000s comedy films, and the edit like Election and a bunch of other stuff. So yeah.
Dukan's my friend from USC. We both, me, Dukan, and Akeem, all did the master's program in production over there. And I guess Dukan just thought I could do. I hadn't like done producing at the time that he approached me, and it's a lot of just like trying to like meet people and get things done. And so I think probably I don't know, he saw some potential there, and I really liked how confessional and revealing the script was. I really like it when people tell stories about things that are close to their heart. And as far as influences go, I feel like there were some almost like borderline like Wes Anderson shots in there, like the sort of like flat dimension during the interview stuff. I thought that was really cool. Yeah.
Nice. Close friends, bros through like high school and stuff. It's very nice. Y'all are very close. All right. So for this panel, you guys all have different roles in your film production. Could you describe what your role was? Because everyone's different from this panel compared to like most panels where it's the director and the actor and stuff like that. So could you guys describe what you did for the film in your role?
Okay, so yeah, I was the first AD, so Long was the director, and essentially I was in charge of just like the schedule of the film and making sure we shot on time, making sure like cast, we knew about their whereabouts, their in and out times as well, sending out that info to crew as well. So a little bit more on like the logistical side, but you can't do the creative side without the logistical side, unfortunately. So yeah, just making sure we had a good plan, and then yeah, Long always looked over like the stuff in terms of like the schedule to make sure we were on track, and yeah, that's for the most part is what I did.
Yeah, and like without Kenneth's help, I mean, we wouldn't have like the cast ready. Like he keeps everything in motion while I'm working with like our director of photography to get shot up and our cast to, you know, get the emotions right. But yeah, so as the director, I'm mostly working with our cast and our director of photography to kind of get the right feeling that we want in the film, in their performances and the visuals of the film.
So as the editor, I'm the one cutting the film. So they would shoot for days and days, and sometimes like for one scene, for one shot, they'll like have 4 or 5 different takes, and the actor is doing something else per take, or the camera is doing something else. So it's kind of up to me to like decide like which takes are the best, and how do I like put them together in a way that's like funny and make sure that the jokes are landing, and if it's a sad moment, how do I make the audiences cry, things like that. So it's all done in the edit, and also like getting music, like temp music in so that the director can have like notes on like, oh, I want this kind of music instead of this kind of music. So it's a little bit of a lot of things.
Yeah, I would say producing it's somewhat similar to the first AD position in that you're trying to help with all the sort of logistics and difficult practical things that have to go down in order to make a film. You know, we'd love to just grab a camera and like run into a place and like shoot it, but you can't do that. You have to like have contracts with people, and you have to get like production insurance, and like, you know, anytime someone shows up in a film, they have to kind of sign a form like agreeing to be shown in the film. And so the producers kind of try to spearhead all those different logistical things. You know, there's like budget, there's raising money, there's making sure the money is like allocated and spent properly. You don't like run out of money as you're shooting. So it's kind of like a logistical business, I guess, interpersonal thing where like on set you're also trying to like act as therapist or like mediator if there's like any trouble that goes afoot, you know. So it's kind of, that's the sort of the role of it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very interesting because you would see the credits and you're just like, who does that? What does that person do? And then you're like, oh, the director and actor. Oh, that's all you know. But there's a lot of things that go along with making a production or a film. All right, so with that said, who has questions for our panel? Very diverse. All right. I'll have our volunteer pass the mic. All right, thank you, dude. All right, keep your hands raised.
Hello, my name is Coy. I'm representing for Los Amigos High School. I actually have 2 questions. So the first one is, what are you guys' each one's like favorite thing in your own movie? And then the second one is about the One Summer Night. At the end, the last scene was the father's last words, the actual last word that he told. Because I just think that it wasn't true. That, yeah. I just want to know like the actual word that he said.
Yeah, I'll answer that question first, I'll let everybody else go. But yeah, so I mean, he didn't say those words on set when we were filming, but I think what I like about, and it's probably one of my favorite moments too, is the ambiguity of like, in the open-endedness of, did he say it or not? But I think at the end of the day, it's more about how Hui, the older brother, tells it to the younger brother, and that inherently is like more of him expressing that, although not saying it's coming from him. And it's kind of that like brotherly love where it's not direct, but it's very implied, and they kind of understand that.
Yeah, and I think what was the other part of the question? Like your favorite part or favorite thing?
It was you guys' favorite part in your own movie.
I think like my favorite part, like working on a film set is like very chaotic, but there's just like 30 seconds in the day where everybody's working in tandem perfectly together and you can feel it. And I felt it specifically in like one of the last scenes that you see where we were like praying and I don't know, just being there, because we were also rapping, we were like doing soft rap, so I'm like getting people, I'm like, all right guys, we gotta get ready to go. So when I peeped and I saw that scene, I just thought it was like really, like it's a very big, important scene in the film, but I don't know, it just symbolized so many things to me, like one, finishing, and then two, I don't know, that connection between like brotherhood between the two characters.
So one of the favorite things about Mike, aside from like the people that I work with, there is a scene there where there's like an interview of all these students, and when I edited that, so this is a thesis film at USC, and the thesis advisor actually hated that scene, and was like telling us to cut it out, and I was like, no, we're gonna put it in, I'm gonna make it work as an editor. And I pitched an idea to Dukan, and he liked it, and he played around with it a bit more. And then eventually, like when we finished that idea, the thesis advisor was like, yeah, it actually works. So that was like a good kind of like, yeah, moment for us.
I love those cut scenes.
Okay, sorry, I know who he's talking about. One thing within the film that I really like is structurally it takes place over the course of one day. I really like stories that like mostly take place in real time, because there's something, yeah, there's just a lot. It's like a very momentous thing, your first day of school, and so I know I found the structure of it to be very believable, like all the events that occur as a result of the microaggressions and the not so microaggressions that Hip goes through. And then outside of the film, it's just a real pleasure to work with Dukan. He's a leader who really makes his people feel really safe and held and appreciated. You know, when you're working on student films, it's just years of free labor that you're trading back and forth. It's like you do something for your friend, they do something for you, and I think Dukan was just always just super appreciative and kind, and he was just such a pleasure to work with.
Thanks for the question. Who's next?
Hello, my name is Amy Bo, and this question is for Mr. Long. You said that when you were making One Summer Night, it was based off of your own experiences. So when you were making the movie, was your intention to have like a super meaningful impact with your audience, or was it more of like creative outlet?
It definitely started as creative outlet. I think, during the process, it's like me just like writing out my feelings and getting my story out. But at a certain point, I had to step away from that and make it more about, making that meaningful impact for an audience. Because, when you're making a film, like, it's not just for me, but it's for the people watching it and to experience and relate to the content that's in it. And so that was a big part of it. And getting notes from, like, a lot of friends was a big part of it, too, because they were like, hey, like, I know this happened to you, but we think this would be more impactful and meaningful if you had change this up. And I think those notes were probably the best notes that I got.
Thank you.
Who's next? Keep your hands raised if you guys want. Oh, man, there's a lot.
My name is Ambo. I'm also from Los Amigos High School, and this is also a question for One Summer Night. So I was wondering if there was any significance behind the names We and Hi.
There's a little bit of significance. So Hai actually means the number 2 in Vietnamese. And so because he's like the second born son, I had him named Hai. And Huy, if I remember correctly, means something along the lines of like strong or king. And so I really wanted to make his character super intense and very like strong-headed. And so that's the meaning behind their names.
You might want to walk around the other side, yes.
All right, hi, I'm from Los Amigos High School. I have questions for both films. For Mike, why did you decide to do it in I think it was South Dakota, or also in a very religious kind of setting where it was like a school? And also for One Summer Night, there was a scene where the subtitling was kind of omitted, and I was kind of curious, it's such an important scene, why would you purposefully omit something like that?
So the reason why it's set in South Dakota is Dukan did his exchange in South Dakota. I think at early on in his program, he went to South Dakota, and I think one of the things his host family was super religious, and I don't remember if there were any clashes because of that, but it was one of those things that made him feel uncomfortable about there's this extremely Christian religious family who are sort of like stepping over boundaries, and he's trying to navigate that as like a lonely 13, 14-year-old kid who just wants to like explore the world and have friends. So that was basically it.
And yeah, for One Summer Night, the question was about the subtitles. So, sorry, I don't remind myself. Yeah, so in that moment, that reflects more of like me as like a second generation Vietnamese American. And so for a lot of us, I feel like we have a very basic understanding of Vietnamese, so we can understand the things that our parents tell us pretty often, but once it gets to a bit more complex ideas and concepts, that's when things get a little shaky for me. And so I wanted to portray that with Hai, who is like the younger, less experienced, less knowledgeable son, and so he kind of loses the information that his dad is telling him, and what are essentially his last words. And that kind of tracks into the very end where he doesn't know what his dad's last words were, and so he receives them from his brother, and it's a little bit more meaningful and a little bit of a better bond between the two brothers now that they're parting ways.
I should also add for Mike, I think the religious element adds like an additional conflict. It kind of expands the racism in the story because, Hip's wearing like a Buddhist necklace in the school is like Catholic, and one of the first things that he experiences is Nancy, his host mother, covering up his Buddhist necklace. So like essentially like, I think it's like a deepening of the themes of like otherization that I think Dukan was trying to explore.
Questions? Art,
Hello. You may call me Spheri. For the editor of One Summer Night, what was it like? I guess when you were editing like the scene where I'm not really good at memorizing characters' names, but I can't not really good at distinguishing faces either. But what was it like in the scene where I forgot it was Hai or Hui leaving his car and entering a hospital? What was it like editing the music and then because it was a very intense scene. It was very emotional as well, very tense and emotional. And when you got the music or what did you say to the composers? I guess what was it like?
Yeah. So
Good question.
Great question. So that scene wasn't a part of the original script, and I actually had to go back and shoot that with my actor. And yeah, the character's name is Hai. We were editing the film, and we were like, yeah, there's a bit of a lull in the intensity here before he gets to the hospice. And so we went out and we just took a camera and filmed him driving around, and then had him go to the same location that we had shot at, and we just shot him running in. And yeah, I think the ideation behind that was that we needed to keep the intensity up in this moment where they are about to lose everything. And when talking to the composer, I think a big thing was keeping this moment where they go from a very quiet moment where it's nighttime, they're sleeping, they go about and do their own little thing. Hai goes back and cleans the house, Hui stays with his dad, and then we slowly build that up into this very intense moment where Baz on his deathbed, and then Hai has to rush and get to the hospice. And so we really wanted to make that a little bit more impactful with that scene, and so that's when the music really crescendos to this big moment for that climax.
So the actors they're the actors for Hai and Hui, they're was it actual emotion when you were filming it? Was there real tears or something?
When he gets into the room, yeah, I think both the actors had to really get into this headspace. And so we had the set really quiet for them, and so we let them just kind of run with it. I honestly didn't really give them that much direction. They just really took it and made it their own, which was great.
We'll do one more question. Anyone else? Oh, that's a lot. One last question.
You guys made some, my name is Christine. You guys made some very powerful films, but I want to know, what was the worst part about being on set?
Ooh, she gave the opposite.
That is a good question. I've been waiting for this.
You got an answer.
Okay, so I was talking about this. So yeah, at the time I was living in Louisiana, and Long and the rest of the team were in California, and they did the set visits. And normally, which like the appropriate way to go about that is you take pictures of the location. You know, anything you can see, you can kind of plan, you can start pre-planning where you want to start putting stuff before you get on location, right? And we did the garden scene at the top of that specific location, and I just look up in the backyard and I see like a jet, and the jet is just coming. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, okay, the jet's gone, and I see more jets, and then more. And I found out that we were actually filming next to a private airport. So a lot of people have their private planes that just fly back and forth. But there's like an app to track it. But it was fun, you know, like moments like that are a little bit a challenge. That's what filmmaking is about. Like, how do you go about that challenge? And yeah, we had the best team to do it. So I really wasn't as stressed, but it's just kind of like one of those funny stories to tell, because it's just kind of crazy seeing jets that low while we're filming too.
Yeah, that was crazy. Mine is also another location, pre-production kind of thing. I'll try to make this quick, but basically we had one location that dropped out from us like 2 days before, and so I spent like the entire day driving around with my producer trying to find a location. And luckily we finally find one like towards like the afternoon. We spent all day looking around. And then we get there like 2 days later, we start shooting, or no, we don't even start shooting yet. We have like our safety meeting and we do a little like intro, and then the sprinklers go off all over our equipment, and we're all rushing to go get our equipment and like move it out. And then it was such a way to start the shoot that I was like, oh God, is this gonna be a train wreck? But it's totally fine. It was just really intense like 2-3 days before.
I wasn't really on set for Mike because I was editing. But I will say that Dukan's my roommate, and so I had to go through pre-production with him. Like, he would come home and he would like tell me like, oh, this location canceled, and we have to pay extra $1,000 to like get fire marshals to inspect the location. And like there were times I just had to like sit down with him and it's like, it'll be okay. And it just sucks if like you're like a friend that you care about is working on a project that they care about so deeply, and they're going through like this moment of despair, and like that's the worst feeling ever. And you're just like there, and you're like, the only thing you can do is like say it's gonna be okay when you're like, I don't know, but that's the that's the magic of filmmaking. It's not gonna be okay until it actually is okay in the end.
Right.
So.
Hakeem, I'm so glad you brought up the fire marshal, because that's what I was going to talk about. The worst part is when you have to pay for stuff that you shouldn't have to pay for. Yes. It's so annoying, the amount of red tape. So like, I called 200 schools, and we were able to get a school in Culver City for $300 a day, which is a mere miraculous price. And then like, Film LA is like, oh, you do like a fire marshal to like make sure you're not going to burn the building down. It's like, if we burned it down, like it was gonna be burned down, like what is the fire marshal gonna do? Like, I'm sorry, like so the guy shows up, he just like has our coffee and then he just leaves. And I was like, that's $1,000. It's like 5% of our whole budget. That was annoying.
Especially for studio teachers.
No, you have to have studio teachers. Like, okay, so if you have an actor who's like below the age of 18, you have to pay like a teacher to be there to like teach them, I guess. But then they never do any learning. They just chill. I don't know. There's so much red tape, guys. There really is.
Is this like the homies panel and bros panel or something? The last panel was just like fangirling and stuff. But yeah, thank you guys. Thank you, Los Amigos, for your amazing, awesome questions. All right. Well, we have one more portion left. This is the lightning round question, so it'll be quick. So, favorite high school activity?
High school activity?
Yeah, high school activity.
Go. You guys go.
Playing video games and not fitting in.
Oh my god.
That's a pretty good one.
Nice.
Not having to be an adult.
Okay.
Yeah, video games is up there. Yeah, I think that's gotta be it.
Skipping class or getting out of class somehow. It was the best.
That,
And then no, it was like like I wasn't skipping class, but it was like I was needed to like film stuff. But yeah, that.
stay in school, kids. Current song on repeat. Current song on repeat.
Current song on repeat.
Man, I asked hard lightning round questions.
I've been listening to Porter Robinson's new album.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's really
Good one,
good.
good one.
Nice. Oh dang!
I don't know if anyone listens to Thai music, but I've been listening to a lot of film before it.
Okay.
I'm low-key on my like Jeremy Zucker phase again. Yeah, just going through old classics.
Okay. He's looking through his Spotify.
I'm in need like a little audience support. My girlfriend's out there. She put me on a song recently.
Aw.
The Burberry song, honey. Elliot. It's called Burberry Coat. It's a little vibe.
Interesting. All right. Memorable teacher. Any teacher, high school, college, outside of school.
I was gonna say like our high school media arts teacher, Mr. Baxter. He was this British guy in like South Louisiana, teaching
wild.
photography. But he was so nice, and he let us use all the equipment back in the day. So I owe it all to him.
Oh, dang, that would have been my answer. Wait, you guys go. Let me think. What do you got? What do you got?
I have this English teacher when I was in 5th grade in the Philippines, and he would teach us English by sharing the most green jokes, like the most really really like bad corny jokes that were just very like inappropriate for kids. And I still
my
remember
God.
they're in my language though, so you can't share them, but they were really really bad, and I love them.
Oh boy.
Yeah, hell yeah. Speaking of inappropriate for kids, I also had an English teacher who just overshare, just like bring his bad marriage into the classroom, and I was just like, wow, this is like juicy as hell. You know? This is lit.
Yeah, I had a graphic design senior thesis teacher who I told him, oh, my senior thesis is just gonna be to make films and stuff, and so he would just like let me go and video things whenever I needed, and I got out early, which was really nice.
Nice. What comes to mind when you hear Viet Film Fest? I like how my questions are hard.
I think of the culture and the community a lot. I think like Viet Film Fest is very much like for the culture, and I love it. And I just love seeing the community that you guys have built. And I recently talked to the founder, and he's amazing, and has just been so supportive of all the films, and I'm very very happy to be a part of it.
Nice. Anyone else want to share?
I was gonna say, yeah, this is my first time here, but yeah, I'm just glad y'all have a space like this to just celebrate Viet films and Viet culture, and like how much of a blessing it is to see different films in the diaspora. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's my first time, and it's just so like there's just been so many cool people here, like just talking to people and filmmakers. But you guys are also so lucky because like when I was a high school student back in my small town in the Philippines, I lived in this town called Davao, and I would always look for like independent films, like things that are not in the mainstream, because I always watch mainstream films and I never get to see them because we were such a small town. So that's the other thing. Like there's just a lot of like films here that are good like from what I've seen so far.
Nice.
Yeah, like in addition to like, I'm really happy that we're platforming Vietnamese voices, but I even also just feel a lot of pride for my friend Dukan when I think about the festival, because I'm just like, oh wow, he did it, like this is awesome, you know?
This is such a homies panel. All right, my last question is, what are your upcoming projects that you'd like to share with the audience today? To wrap things up.
So I just wrapped on my first feature film. It's
Nice.
kind of like a coming-of-age film set in like a Catholic high school. We're picture locking, which is like when the edit stops and then moves over to sound design in 3 weeks. So I'm super psyched about that.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
I just edited a documentary that premiered in Sundance earlier this year, and it's apparently like now I'm joining the producers, like trying to mount an Oscar campaign for it because we're trying to get it nominated for an Oscar, which is kind of cool. Like it's weird for me to say that, but outside of that, I am also developing a feature. I'm talking to agents and producers to get it developed, and we'll see if I'll get the money for it. But yeah, that's it.
Congratulations too. Woo!
Yeah, they're all really doing really cool things. But I am just writing and developing the next short film. Probably gonna be like a sci-fi thriller type vibe. But yeah, just gonna write that and submit it to grants and fellowships and things.
Yeah, similar. Yeah, just congrats to everybody on the panel. Yeah, similar to Long. Yeah, I'm currently writing and developing a short as well. And yeah, finding my grants because yeah, you can't make films without money, unfortunately.
Yes, it's very expensive. But yeah, I would like to thank our filmmakers and their crews for attending today's screening of the high school set. Please give a round of applause for the hard work as the lead protagonists. So, on behalf of VALA, the Vietnamese American Arts and Letters Association, I would like to thank you all for joining us today at Viet Film Fest to listen to stories of the Vietnamese diaspora and conversations on the big screen. So yeah, thank you guys. And if you guys have time, you guys can come up and ask questions individually as well. But yeah, thank you guys for attending today, and I hope you guys have a great weekend.